course, when we found out that she was with child, the whole world came to help her because she's just an amazing and beautiful woman,
You
and
can't do
fierce and
that.
powerful, and we want to make sure she has everything she needs. And we want to just have Jessica represent all the beautiful women in Oakland and Alameda County, the beautiful women of color who are fierce and fabulous and working hard. And the benefit, all of the proceeds of our day today are going to go to Jessica and her family to help her to have her birth center birth that she's dreamed of. And she's been working hard and fundraising and selling cupcakes and doing manicures. And it's like, I just want this woman to have a big round of applause for what she's doing to make her natural birth happen.
Woohoo!
It's really been inspiring to me. And so I'm just happy whatever we can do. And I wanted her to have an opportunity to just speak to this experience, what it's been like, this journey of finding out you're a pregnant lady, and then your journey of trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? The EPT says what? And this is journey of, just what you've been through, my friend, and how it's been. So I'm gonna hand over that to you. Say whatever you want.
I don't think I've been this nervous in front of a group of people in a long time, or just saying something, because I'm pretty narcissistic about my life. Um, the one word that I think would sum up this entire experience is interesting. I think, like, my whole introduction to natural birth came from Netflix, watching The Business of Being Born. And after seeing that and being so heavily involved in political protests for social and economic justice over a span of like a year, it just seemed like it made so much sense that I would want to go for the natural birth. Um, and then upon doing more research, I definitely saw like the corporatization of birth, like the profiteering that was happening associated with birth in this country. And I don't know, like I have Kaiser. And so, like, usually at Kaiser, I was kind of used to going in and telling my doctor, look, this is what's wrong and this is what I need you to do, you know, and have them listen to me. And I felt so, I don't know, like I used to feel so happy, like almost blessed in the way that I had private health care and that I could be in charge of my health care in that way and, get little perks like not having to sit in the emergency room in Highland forever, but being able to make appointments and all this, that, and the other. And I felt like, oh, I'm pretty empowered in my medical, the medical area of my life already. And then I went to go to a maternity doctor appointment, and that was a lot different. It was more like, this is what we're telling you, this is what you're gonna do, and yeah, have a good one. And that was after sitting in a very, very cold doctor's room, like for half an hour, with no respect for my appointment time, naked, with which seems like no reason for me to be naked. And I just felt like that is the moment when I felt really disempowered. And before I'd actually ever even spoke to Samsarah about it, I tried to talk to my OBG and was like, I'm considering a midwife and a natural birth. And she goes, well, I'm not going to dismiss that right now, but we can just talk. And I just was like, what the hell make you think that you have the choice to dismiss
Ooh,
anything? Like, I
hello.
immediately didn't understand her reaction to just like haphazardly scoop my concern to the side or my preference. Um, and then it was like, I don't know, just being so frustrated and emotional, even more so than usual, and posting everything on Facebook. It was like I got such a response from the community to where I really started to understand it takes a village scenario more so than ever before. Um, and the more research I did on it to find out that we have more infant mortality, like higher infant mortality rates in this country, that we have a lot of mothers who actually die during the birthing process in this country. I just didn't understand with all our medical advances, how come that was something that went unanswered for so long? But it like also seemed like the growing trend of cesareans and unnecessary pitocin injections and all of those things tended to go up at the same time as the rates of infant mortality. So I was like, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but those two seem to correlate pretty strongly. And I also was like, I'm a black woman or a woman of color within this country, and the other statistic that's bothersome is that, yeah, it happens to all women in this country, but even more so to women of color, black women, who tend not to get, low income women, who tend not to get the care that they're supposed to get. And then I was like really confused about why it was so much more expensive to have a hospital birth. But they were like forcing all of these things on me because the insurance companies are doing their little backdoor deals and getting paid. And it was cheaper and safer for me to have a midwife, but because I guess it took away the power to profit, from the corporate entities, that was not something that was being approved. And so then it was like, I don't know, like this. I thought that everybody's like, pregnancy is going to be so beautiful and it's going to be a wonderful experience. And I just feel like I've had to fight a lot during the pregnancy. And I feel really bad because, like, I had to fundraise, which I appreciate the support from the community, but at the same time, it's like, it's the community that's low income, that's trying to make sure that they can provide these same types of, benefits for their children of natural and healthy, which tend to cost more, unfortunately, who are supporting me. And I felt like that was unfair, I felt like the people who had it in a way where they could support natural birth, like in these hospitals that could be employing midwives and doulas, um, and it would be like a lot cheaper than having to have insurance policies to pay for a surgeon to be there unnecessarily at every birth. Just wasn't. I don't know. Like I just really was confused, and I just felt like I had to fight so much. And even now, with Kaiser, like they don't want to, even with the release, they didn't want to give my midwife my ultrasound results. And I'm like, well, I signed over. Like it's confidential until I say that somebody can be there. Like somebody can come sit in a room while I'm having a pap smear with me if I say it's okay. So I don't understand why if I sign a paper, my midwife, who also worked in a hospital delivering babies for 10 years, can't have the ability to access my records to make sure that I would have a safe out of hospital birth. So I'm like, it just seems like I continuously had to fight, but because that there are so many people who are educated or curious enough to learn more about it, that I didn't have to feel so alone in it, and that was really important because I wanted to be the lady who was kind of like singing and rocking and being massaged during my labor, and not like the horror movie scenario from the Learning Channel. Push and like I'm a Halloween baby. I like horror movies. That's what that looked like to me. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm sorry. I'm so hot. Like I'm sweating. Um, so I don't know. Like this whole experience has been very interesting to say the least. Like there are many aspects of social and economic injustice across the board that I was very aware of and willing to fight for. But as a woman, this isn't one of them that was made even highly evident. You know what I mean? Like it's not something that's out at face value, and a lot of people don't experience it until they get ready to have a baby. Like, or even with my birth mother, like she was like, I don't understand why you would do this to your baby. And I was really confused at her statement because I was like, I don't understand why you wouldn't have done that with me. you know. And so like my understanding has grown that a natural birth means more than like not having an epidural. Like I understand that you can still have that and still be deemed a natural birth. But I'm like, what I don't understand is like how somebody was talking about their birth plan, right? And they kept getting offered pitocin and epidural. Was you were saying that? Yeah. Okay, I'm like, well, the whole point of the birth plan to me was that while I'm of sound body and mind, not in distress, right? That I'm making these decisions that I want for my child and for me. And that it seems like the hospital has a habit of approaching you while you're in distress, which is totally illegal. To have you make decisions like, am I going to have these harmful drugs put into my body that, by the way, no tests had really been done to see the effects of these drugs on the baby while they're in my stomach, like, but you're telling me that they're great. Um, so I don't know, like I kind of feel like I'm all over the place because it's just such a big topic, and it covers so much. Like it's not just if I'm gonna have a doctor, the hospital's gonna cover it, or if I'm gonna have a midwife or a doula, because everybody's situation is gonna be a little different. But at the end of the day, just like it's like you have to find your voice early, and you have to do the research yourself. And I feel like if I didn't have decolonize, if I didn't have Occupy in my corner, I would be like really not equipped for this situation at all. But because I had so much support, so many people sending me links to this and pamphlets to that, and come to this meeting, go see a chiropractor. All of these things. Like if I didn't have all of that support, like I feel like I would be one of those women who go to Kaiser and get told what to do, and then end up laying on my back in the most inconvenient position to try to push the baby out and being forced drugs and not realizing that I have several more options than they were giving me. Um, I don't know. So it's like she said, I've sold cupcakes and I've done nails, which you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at mine right now. Um, God, and I've done a number of different things just trying to come up with the money to make sure that I would be able to pay to have a natural birth. But it's like the hospital will make sure that I could get as much Pitocin as I wanted, or maybe even more than I than I want, so the doctor can go home to dinner with his wife, which is great. But like, why does it have to affect the safety of me and my child coming into the world when I'm like, aren't the children the future? Like, aren't we supposed to be wanting to make sure that they're safe and not going to possibly have long-term diseases like autism or something, that may or may not be related to the usage of Pitocin within the birthing practice? Which I find that very interesting that they have more studies on what marijuana does to the fetus, but they don't talk about what Pitocin does to the fetus as a synthetic oxytocin-like replacement. So that was another thing. You're like, oh, we're going to have you speak to a social worker, because social workers and CPS totally know everything that's great about the babies. And that's the reason why we have successful families, because we break them up. But we don't want to talk about Pitocin at all. You know what I mean? But we're going to say, because you had a weed brownie and we tested your blood without telling you that we were testing your blood, then now you have to speak to a social worker and possibly, run the risk of not being able to take care of your child after birth. And so I'm like, if you constantly look at their practices, and it's never for the individual woman that doesn't have a big community backing her. And oftentimes, even if you have a big community, if your big community doesn't have big dollars, then it still doesn't matter. But it's like a lot of the practices are just to make money off of you. Like you're assembly lined and you're a product, and you're not a human being, and you're not empowered to be the person that's going to take charge of another human life and raise another human life. I don't feel like you're given the respect of a person that continues our species, to make those decisions. And like Samsarah was saying, our bodies were made for this. Like I keep saying, if I didn't speak English, if I didn't know how to read and write, if I didn't know how to do anything else, if I got pregnant, my body would figure out,
Okay.
you know what I mean, how to have this baby. And so I'm like, I don't understand why we live in a world that works so hard to take that power from us that was naturally given to us, as women. And nor do I understand why they work so hard to educate people against being more empowered, except for if there's a monetary reason behind it, some sort of profit to be made. So that's just kind of I don't know, that's a lot of what I've been learning lately. It's if I'm not making money from some big insurance company or for a private healthcare industry, then my choices really don't matter, and I have to work hella hard to figure out what I'm gonna do to make things happen. And so I don't know, I appreciate everybody coming today, whether you're somebody that has already had natural birth or is just learning more about it, that's to me the first step, because I didn't know anything really about it before I found out that I was pregnant. But I feel like it just takes more of us, because we live in a capitalistic society where they profit off of telling us, programming us to tell us what we want so that we'll buy it from them. But I'm I feel like the more independent we are, the more capable we are of our own independent critical thought, to where we can make this be the demand, that will have to change, and that eventually that we will have this, this whole debacle with insurance companies fixed, and we can, be empowered in our own births and have natural births without, being fear-mongered into epidurals, being fear-mongered into Pitocin or cesareans. then we can move on. But it's like gonna take a long time because it's already been a long time just for us to get this type of awareness now. So I mean, I'm really appreciative of that, and I don't know. I'm really ready to not be pregnant anymore either. It's gotten to that point. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if people have questions for me. I'll be happy to answer some. But other than that, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for coming out and for having a voice or trying to find one. I don't know what anybody, everybody's role is here. But yeah, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for our blessed mama who's churning and burning? Anybody who's contemplating pregnancy, who has a pregnancy-related question? Anyone who's been pregnant and wants to just tell her how much you love her? You can do that too. Give you a couple minutes.
I have a question. Are you having a home birth or a birth center?
Birth center. I'm gonna have it at Sacred Birthplace.
Can you tell me a little bit about the birth center? I'm not from here and I don't know much about the birth centers.
The birth center is beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. When I first saw the birthing suite, I was like, oh my God, I want to have the baby here. Like, at first I was living in an apartment. I just moved, so it would be okay for me to have the baby at home, but it's more expensive that way too. But when I first saw the birthing suite, I thought it was like a perfect alternative to like having the baby in my little apartment that I hated. Never wanted that memory to be made there. But it's like this birth center has 3 bedrooms. One of them is the main birthing suite, which has the birthing tub and everything. It was like, wow, I'm so in love with the tub. It was like, water birth, it cuts down on pain. Like, I want that. And they have like a kitchen and like a waiting room, and they do like classes. Like I have a class today to go to later. So like you can, you get to also meet with other mothers who are kind of like in your, I don't know what to call it, like your pregnancy window. Like you guys are about the same trimester. Yeah, the same trimester or whatnot. And so you guys get to talk about different things and learn more about having a natural birth. And the thing that I like about it is that it's not totally biased. Like we only discuss the good things of natural birth. Like we talk about the risks, but then we also talk about the risks in hospital. And one list dramatically outweighs the other. You always end up like it's always like the birth center is the healthiest option because when you talk about and you really analyze the risks in the hospital, they're the same, if not worse, than having it naturally. So you get a lot of support, and I just feel like it's a more personal experience because it's like not all white, you know what I mean, and doctors in scrubs, and it looks like a home. It's very nice. It's very welcoming when you come in there, and the staff is very nice. Everybody that I've met has been very supportive. They've answered all my questions and given me like food for thought, so I come back with more questions, which is great. I don't know, like I just felt like the birth center was like an amazing thing. I never understood, and then I just read an article about how San Francisco had closed down their last birthing center, and I just didn't understand it, especially in a city that's so compacted, where people live so close on top of each other, like how their birthing center would get shut down.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I'm learning that. But the birthing center really is amazing. I suggest that people go check it out. It's more than what I thought it was. Like when I walked in, I don't know what I expected, but I definitely was pleasantly surprised when I went in there. And I immediately fell in love with the birthing center. I was like, I'm having my baby here. I don't care what kind of fundraiser I need to have. Like, I was like, this is totally gonna happen. And it did, and so I'm like, I think people should go check it out. They're more than welcome to have people, come visit the birthing center, take a tour, but they're like midwives who have clients scheduled to birth, so you have to call and get an appointment. But it's great because they told me like if I get ready, like when I go into labor, like there are stairs, so I can go up and down the stairs. And because they don't have the ability to give me an epidural, so like this is a solid decision here. But then it also means that I can eat, if I want to, and they have a kitchen there. They also help you like with your placenta afterwards if you want to do capsulation, if you want to do like you want to dry it out or whatever, they have those services for you. If you don't have Kaiser and you can't go to their lab, like they offer to like do tests for you there, like you might have to come out of like pay out of pocket for some of the tests. I don't know, it was a very different experience from laying naked at Kaiser for a half an hour and being ignored and talked down to like I was totally ignorant versus coming to this birthing center, which was much more of a home, and being talked to like with some respect and actually learning things and being supported by people there. So I'm like, the birthing center is really amazing. It's unlike anything I've ever been to before. So yeah, I would give it a try.
It's with a great deal of joy that I want to let people know that we have 2 birth centers in the East Bay now. We have the Sacred Birthplace, with which I am happily affiliated. It's the big sign over there. And we have Pacifica Maternity Center on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley. And we have a beautiful representative, do the spokesmodel wave. And she's got information there. I've got information about Sacred Birthplace on my table. I also have information about doulas and amazing sainted women that help at home birth more and more now, which is really great and tasty. But we also, our role, our modern role has been to help women jump the hurdles of the hospital system and have as few interventions as possible. We have beautiful stats to support what we're doing there. So I want folks to know, yes, I sing the praises of the Sacred Birthplace. I love it. And Selena Green, our senior midwife there, rocks the house. And we now have Pacifica Center, and we want to really give them some support. And we want, holistic birth being on the menu for women who are having babies. It's not, it's not a choice unless you have choices to pick from.
Mm-hmm.
You're not empowered unless you are, saying, I want this and I don't want that. And when you say you don't want that, they don't all jump on you. So we're very lovely to have Pacifica Center here, not only as a treasured guest, but also one of our sponsors and people who've contributed. So grateful. Thank you.
Yay!
So we're going to take exactly a 5-minute little break, and we're going to come back with poetry and the rest of our afternoon. So 5 minutes, go to the potty.
Thank you,
And
Bella.
I see food is being set up over there. Our
Yay.
wonderful Nita is here. She has food for sale. If everybody got an agenda when they came in, so you have a little menu of what she's got available for you, please go to buy.
Oh,
A
yeah.
portion of the proceeds of our lunches also goes into the fund for our beautiful Jessica and her family. We have photography going on there in the room across the way, Robert Silver and Get Live Media. This happens to be my second born son, and once you guys all know, this is my baby twin.
I'm gonna start shaking. Oh my goodness.
Jasmine is over here somewhere with some electronic device. And he is offering family portraits and belly portraits for $25, and a portion of the proceeds also goes to the fund for today. And 5 minutes, we'll see you again.
Thank you. Make sure they put, when they come out, make sure the stopper's in the door when they come out. Thank you.
Helpers. Oh, you performed last night at First Fridays, didn't you? You were really good. You're welcome. You had my son dancing.
Courtney, come here.
He wants to see his mom. You know his mom? Okay. Walk him over there and then walk.
You want me to
tell her
take
that
him?
she
I
wants
can
to
take
see-
him.
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah.
she can take him, either one.
When are you going? After this?
Cover your mouth when you cough, sweetie pea. Jossie, cough and sneeze into your arm, sweetie.
Wait, did I sing it? No. Wait, was the patrol boat on D3? Did he get it right? Yes. Did you get it right?